Good morning. What's up?
What's going on, man?
Good morning, everyone.
How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Good. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, TJ. Hope y'all doing good.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning. Good morning.
So, welcome back to another week where we're here to distract you from your current story, dismantle your current belief systems, and inspire you to change your mind, which will then inspire you to change your life. And as usual, we appreciate you following, but our mission is to serve. So it's much, much more powerful when you not only like and comment, but most importantly, please share. The more people we get in front of, the more people we can serve. So jumping right into it. What is the topic for the week? So the topic for the week is willpower. Something we've all heard of, but me, I guess, speaking for everybody else, it's not really something that I've ever heard anybody spend any kind of substantial amount of time on to actually talk about. More or less, it simply means push through, right? But what actually is willpower, and how can you use it for your benefit? So, what is a power challenge? A power challenge is a competition between two parts of yourself, right? On the left side, we got Kobe versus Kobe. Kobe with the fro, Kobe number 8, versus Kobe with the closest thing to baldy that you can get with number 24. Kobe the athlete, you feel me? And obviously cerebral. They always talk about how smart he was, but Kobe the lesser athlete, but much, much more cerebral, right? Two different people, the same person. Or another good image is like you in the middle, and then you got the angel on this side, the devil on this side. The angel was saying, do the angel make the angel decision. The devil was saying, make the devil decision. Right? So let's go down deeper into how that is relevant to willpower. So, an I will power challenge is something you have to make yourself do, even though it will be easier not to do it. A great example for this is when your alarm clock goes off. Like for me personally, I thank God that Tierra is not one of these people. Well, I really wouldn't know because I'm always up way, way, way before her. But people that hit snooze, I don't understand it. Right? If you need an extra 20 minutes, set your alarm 20 minutes later. But when your alarm goes off, will you get up? You set it at that time for a reason because you're supposed to get up. But do I really need this job that bad? Right? Or do I really need this extra 5 minutes? Or do I really need to get there first? Everybody else is late. Do I really need to get up now? Knowing that you should get up. So even though you don't want to do it, you will do it because it's better for you. Even though it's easier not to do it. Or sticking to your diet, sticking to your workout routine, sticking to your financial plan, sticking to the agreement that you made in your relationship. It's almost always easier not to do it when you're talking about something that adds value. On the other side of that, we have an I won't power challenge, having the ability to resist certain temptations. I won't hit snooze. I won't eat that cupcake. I won't yell and cuss. I won't be late. So it's knowing when you will and knowing when you won't. And almost always, whether the right decision for that moment is a will or a won't, the harder thing to do is almost always going to be the right decision. But what side are you going to give into? And normally, for the sake of imagery, the devil side is screaming. Angel side is whispering until you go through an intentional process to turn down the volume for the sake of imagery on the devil side and turn up the volume for the sake of imagery on the angel side. But remember, it's easier to do the devil side or to do the Kobe 8 side. It's harder to do the Kobe 24 or to do the angel side. So let's talk about why that is. It's not just a thing, it's actually something that happens in your mind. So we have one brain with two minds, and we are completely different people depending on which mind and which systems of the brain are more active. So we have one brain, like the thing in your head, right? But your brain in motion, your car with the engine on, that's your mind. Your brain is the vehicle, right? But it's just sitting there. How you make your wheels spin is your mind. So we got two different minds based on the size of our prefrontal cortex. The left side is more active when we feel happy. HIJKL, right? L and H are very close to each other. The left side is more active when you feel happy, right? In positive emotions. R is right next to S. They're next to each other. Can't get any closer. The right side is more active when you feel sad, right? Look at Gucci Man. On the sad side, and he's not even that fat here, right? But he wasn't a happy person, right? And I don't care what nobody say you can do the studies, but how somebody looks strictly in terms of the things that they can control speaks a lot for their emotional stability in life. Sometimes you can't control it. I get it, right? You got in a car accident, you broke your legs. All you can do is maybe get on the arm bike, right? You might not look your best, right? If you're disabled in some form or fashion and you can't do something, cool, right? But luckily, fortunately, most of us are fully able, right? And how we look is a true definition of our emotions. Sad, happy, negative, positive, pessimistic, optimistic. There's different parts of our brain where the wheels spin differently depending on how we feel. And clearly, the left and the right Gucci man made very, very different decisions in life to get that kind of physical outlook that you see. So, mindset, energy, stress levels all dictate how you're going to meet these willpower challenges. When you are the super tired version of yourself, every willpower challenge is more difficult, right? I have the mindset that I am a healthy person and an ambitious person, and people are counting on me. So I'm going to be Gucci Man to the left. Or I have the mindset that everything is just about me. I want to feel good. I don't care about nobody else. No matter if they depend on me, I'll go when I go. That's Gucci Man on the right. Or I just left a personal development seminar with all of the best speakers in the world. And the rest of that day, the next morning, you're going to do everything in your power to make the strong decisions. Or I come from poverty and I've only been in poverty and all I hear is blaming and complaining. So I'm going to just continue to blame and complain. Mindset, energy, right? It's easy to do things when you got energy. What your true moral values and principles are shown when you're low on energy. Do you show up when you don't want to? Or do you only show up when it's convenient? Right? Do you only care about the people that depend on you when you got the juice? Or do you still show up when you don't have the juice? Do you change your character when you're stressed? Do you look at stress as a threat? Or do you look at stress as a challenge? It all matters and affects your decision making. Next thing, meditation and exercise not only make your brain systems more efficient, but it makes them bigger and better connected. It literally makes your prefrontal cortex bigger. Now, that right there is something that is preached in every different facet of life, really, right? Everybody is either religious or spiritual in some form or fashion, either a version of God in their eyes or some kind of version of universe or their own personal spirit or whatever. But everybody is preached to meditate, whether that be prayer, whether that be meditation, whether that be deep breaths, right? Everybody is preached to spend time with yourself, get to know yourself, right? And exercise, obviously, is taking your car for a tune-up, taking your car to get your tires rotated, taking your car to get the engine replaced, whatever the case may be. And obviously, we talked about your brain's connections. Everything that you do is a connection in your brain. right? So meditation and exercise literally make your brain bigger and stronger. So also what you eat has a big influence on your brain, especially your connections. You put trash in your body, instead of having a connection with titanium, hypothetically, it's made out of paper, right? Because you're feeding it trash, you're not feeding it fuel. Blood sugar levels influence your brain's energy, and you need your brain to be ran with a focus on being energy efficient. Studies show that exercising makes it easier to eat right, to stick to your budget, to stop procrastinating, and to focus better. Exercise, something as simple as that. Exercising is the training grounds for willpower, right? You can just look at a person and tell if they have a tendency to make a strong decision or a weak decision, right? I'm not saying that makes you, because you can be very successful in all different forms of fashion without ever exercising. You can become very wealthy, but you extremely limit your chances to enjoy that wealth without health, right? It's very, very easy to tell what kind of standards one has for themselves. It's very, very easy to tell what kind of decisions that they make for themselves. All you have to do is look at them, right? And once again, I want to reiterate, you can still be successful without it, but your chances to maintain that success over a long run are extremely diluted if you do not show the willpower consistently to exercise. In my personal opinion, the only reason people don't exercise is because it's hard. If exercising was easy, everybody would do it. Guaranteed. The only reason people don't do it is because it's hard. They're listening to the Kobe 8. They're listening to the devil side. So, what's the solution? Number one is belief. Belief. Gucci Mane didn't work out at first because he didn't believe that he could be in shape like that. A lot of men don't work out because they don't believe they could be that men's health model. A lot of women don't do it because they don't believe they could be that runway model or that Instagram model or that Hollywood actress or whatever kind of image of themselves that they see at their peak. People don't learn about investing because they don't believe they'll ever have the money to invest, or that it's something that's only for smart people. Or some of our students don't study because they don't believe they can get an A because they never got an A before. Or some of them don't apply to college because their parents or their guardians or their aunts or their uncles never been to college. Or some people believe that college is the answer, right? Because that's what they were told, right? So what you believe in is a huge, huge, huge factor in the kind of willpower that you have. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm not healthy anyway. I'm a die sick. So I'm gonna keep eating all of this XYZ, right? Or I believe that I'm an extremely healthy person and I'm not gonna put this stuff into my body. Or I believe that the government did this, so I'm not putting it into my body. Or I believe that the government did that, so I will put it into my body. Right? So your will or your won't, your belief is a huge factor into what you will do or what you won't do, especially when it comes to the harder decisions. Next one, reasons. Reasons. Personal story. I have somebody very close to me. We've now been working out for the past month or so together. But that's because the doctor said her life is on the line. Now we got some reasons, right? The reasons weren't big enough before, right? So I could just stumble through life and I'll be unhealthy, right? Or the student that doesn't work hard in school until they get that meeting where they say, yo, Mr. Sinclair or yo, KP, your next C, you out. Ah, man, I've been bluffing. I can't go back home. I'm not going back to Jersey. Now all of a sudden you're a 4.0 student, right? Or you've been disrespecting your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, or your wife, and now they're talking about they want to go to counseling or it's over. All of a sudden you got a brand new man, you got a brand new woman, whatever the case may be. Your beliefs and your reasons. But notice that once it takes an emergency for you to have belief or for you to develop reasons, it's almost always too late. Not to say that you can't do it, but there's such a massive mountain in front of you that you're going to feel even more defeated than before, because you'll start to do whatever the thing is that you should have been doing, and you won't get the results for a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. So then you're like, F it. I never did it before. I tried for a month. I didn't move. It's not working. So your beliefs and your reasons have a huge effect on your wills and your wants. And they have to be bigger than your excuses. They have to be bigger than your excuses. So I got this job, but I also have this business. Or I have this job, but I want to start this business. And I'm also a parent to 2 kids and a husband or a wife. I don't have the time. Excuse. You don't want to be that CEO. You don't want to be that president. You don't want to be that owner. All you gotta do is wake up earlier. And they require you to get up at 3, 4, 5, whatever. I don't have time is an excuse, right? Or nobody in my family has done it before. So how am I going to do it? Your excuses cannot be bigger than your reasons and your belief. And once you hit a point of true belief and true reasons, your definition of an excuse includes a lot more, right? Things become non-negotiable. So that's all I got for this. I didn't go all the way into it. I think it's a very, very simple concept. But your wills and your wants are 100% dictated by your beliefs and your reasons. And if you take a step back and look at your life, if your excuses outweigh your beliefs and your reasons, I challenge you to find some reasons and to spend some time learning how to believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, borrow somebody else's belief for a bit. Get on YouTube, listen to some speakers, go to some seminars, go to some schools, talk to some friends, send a DM, whatever the case may be. Because you will be stuck here on this side until you truly believe that you can be on that side. All right? So let's let Pizzle go first. Josh, you always go first. What do you think, Pizzle?
Yeah, so I mean, one thing that kind of stood out to me is having the reasons, right? And I think with reasons, you got to be proactive versus reacting to things, right? I think a lot of times people, like you said, you won't start working out until the doctor tells you, like, yo, you got cancer, you about to die, or the gentleman who doesn't pay attention to his girlfriend, and all of a sudden, when issues start occurring in a relationship, he knows every little thing and every little detail about his girlfriend. So I think a lot of times you end up a lot more of a benefit or in a better position if you're proactive versus waiting for those reasons to occur. And you got to have just the full belief in whatever it is. I think a lot of times people don't have faith in what it is. And I think, exposure is key, right? Like Gucci Mane probably never saw himself being that damn skinny with abs, a 6-pack, running around, white teeth, and not acting the same way he used to act, right? But something, I think at one particular point, he might have been exposed to that, right? To actually get an understanding and say, like, yo, this is what it is. And then he also had a good support system where he had Keisha, but then he also had another reason, right? If you think about Gucci Mane, he was going to jail back and forth all the time. And you're going to really have to sit down for a while, or you're going to have to really change your life. And I think that was a major reason, in addition to having that support system, and in addition to being exposed to like his health and the benefits of changing himself. I think those, if you add everything together in Gucci Mane's situation, that's how he was ended up getting to the size he's at now. So I think you got to have faith. You got to be able to be exposed to whatever it is and remain consistent to bypass it, I guess. Mm-hmm. If I was lagging out, let me know too. Hopefully I wasn't lagging.
Only a couple seconds. I caught like 99% of it.
All right. Might have to move.
You good.
Yeah, all great points, KP. I guess the only thing that I would like to add is the importance of having vision. It's very, very important to see something before it actually comes true physically, right? That is one of the biggest common traits of people that achieve things, is that they see it. They literally see the entire image, the vision. And now it might be blurry. It might not be, extremely detail oriented, but they have a very, very good vision. It's almost like a dream, or like a, if they're an artist, they could draw it, right? I say that because I'm one of those people personally. God has always given me vision. Man, it's like it's one of the best and worst things to ever have. It's positive because you're able to see, when it's a beautiful thing to achieve what was once inside of your head. The hurtful part is that the entire time that you're not in your, the entire time that you haven't achieved that vision, you know you're not there too. Like, you absolutely know it. Every step of the way, you know you're not there. But I'm thankful that I'm at the stage in my life where God is teaching me compassion. Okay. Very, very naturally, I'm someone that is, I'm empathetic, but I'm not sympathetic. Right. I guess maybe because I'm a small guy, I learned to be very hard, very, very hard. I guess the perspective that I have been given in this life is one that a lot of people take, which is, the world is not going to give you anything. It's not. It really is not going to hand you over anything. No one is coming to save you. No one's coming to knock on the door to say, "Hey, we see this great thing in you. We want to help develop that so you can become a great person." That's just not the way the society that I grew up in was constructed. But I am thankful that, like KP was talking about, I'm thankful for exposure. But as I take a step back and I look at, a lot of the reasons why I've had exposure in my life is because I've been able and willing to do more than my peers for the entirety of my life. Now, where that comes from, my environment, even though I might have grown up around people who didn't have those characteristics, I was blessed enough to see my mom and dad get up every single morning and beat the pavement, right? Like, they got up and they went after it. Now, I think, like, for many people in our age group, we may have seen a reality that our parents lived and decided that that's not what we wanted for ourselves. But that's a beautiful thing too, because one thing that I learned specifically from my dad is, in this life, there are people that are put in your life to show you what to do, and then there's people put in your life to show you what not to do. And in some cases, your parents, your family, your community is there to show you what not to do, right? Because that's where wisdom comes in, right? Being smart is learning from your own mistakes or your own experiences, and wisdom is learning from someone else's mistakes or experiences. And one caveat to that is, if there are people in your life that are showing you more of what not to do, of what not to be, of what journey not to take, it's important not to get stuck there, right? I can understand how frustrating that is, because I sit in that seat many times too, where, some people have shown me what not to do more than what to do. So you're left with the question of, what do I do in these situations? Right? I have a vision, I have a goal, but how do I actually achieve it? I know what to stay away from, but I'm not sure what to do. But I would just urge others to kind of go through the process and get to the place where I've learned, which is, there's just as much power in knowing what to stay away from, because usually the stumbling blocks that you experience along your way is what deter you from continuing to move forward. Right? Like, if you continue to hit wall after wall after wall after wall, and you're not aware of what walls to stay away from, oh man, it's probably the vision is probably going to wind up, becoming cloudy, or it's going to be one that you're going to wind up deciding that maybe it's not for you, right? But if you have those experiences and you take a step back and realize that I'm getting an answer from every single approach that I have in life, it's either telling me, yes, continue to do this, or no, I shouldn't continue to do this. And if you continue to self-analyze right? And we're talking about willpower now, because willpower kicks in when you're not getting what you want, right? Willpower is definitely necessary to continue to move on a journey when you get what you want. All right, let's say, for example, exercising. I got a goal of losing 50 pounds. Now, me, if y'all know me, that would never be a goal of mine, because I don't have 50 pounds to give, right? But I would say that if that is my goal, then, after losing the first 3 pounds, all right, whatever I did during that time, like let's have tunnel vision, and let's do whatever I did to learn to lose 3 pounds to lose the next 3, right? But it is important to know that once I get to pound 12, I might plateau and I might need to change my approach. And sometimes it's very, very hard to change what you've been getting positive results from. But once again, this is where the willpower comes in, to stay committed to whatever your goal that you've set for yourself. Because in this life, now I've learned personally that you can't do something the same way forever expecting results, good or bad, right? This world changes, life changes, you change, the people around you change. Me and my wife were watching a really good episode of Black Love last night, man. And gave me a lot of perspective, because, especially for young people and, definitely minorities, there's not a lot of conversations around healthy relationships, around maybe overcoming loss or adversity and things of that sort. Like, you see people do it, but you don't hear people explain it. You don't hear people put it into words, or to be able to give you like action steps if you ever come across some of these things. And it really does come down to the willingness to overcome whatever is in your journey, whatever roadblocks are in your journey, because humans are an amazing creature, man. The most dangerous thing to our society is a human mind made up. Like, if you take a step back and just think about that concept, right? The person that has made his mind up, or the woman that has made her mind up that she will become this, or she won't become this, and she's not willing to move on that vision or that goal, I'm standing extremely firm. I'm willing to accept whatever benefit. I'm willing to accept the benefits and consequences of this decision. Ooh, that person immediately becomes a threat to those around them that don't share their vision, and they immediately become an asset to those that do share their vision. But it is important to know that we have a society in a world that is literally created to jumble your mind up and to give you so many different inputs and different options that make it extremely hard for you to make that solid decision. Willpower will help you combat a lot of those options, a lot of those help me with the word, y'all. Not just options, but
obstacles.
Yeah, I was gonna say obstacles.
I mean more so like when you make a decision, for example, let's say trading, okay? Because all of us are on in the infancy stages of our trading, okay? Obviously, we all have a goal of being successful trading and things of that sort, but you get a lot of different people who have different approaches. You have people who are scalpers. You have people, yep, exactly, TJ. Expecting different results, man. And the reality, I believe, like especially for trading, is you're hit with a lot of different approaches with the same goal in mind of being successful. You have people who are scalpers. You have people who are swing traders. You have people who are long-term investors. You have people who only trade ETFs. You have people who only trade, medical stocks, things of that sort. You have all of these different inputs. Now, everybody has the same goal, but in order to reach your goal, you have to laser focus on one thing, right? And it doesn't mean that you're setting yourself up to be a one-trick pony, but in the beginning stages, you can't focus on all or many. You have to focus on one or very few, right? That is where you can begin to analyze your performance in this example and in most examples, so that you can see, hey, look, if I am deciding to be a swing trader, I have to focus on how my plays or how my trades went in this specific approach, so I can make the necessary changes that I need to make. Because if I'm taking approaches from all these different styles of trading, I can't really identify where the mistakes are that I'm making. Okay, same thing with exercise, right? Is it the food that I'm eating, or is it the workout routine, right? I could be eating great and not losing weight because I'm not really pushing myself in the actual workouts. Or I could be busting my behind in the gym, but I have yet to make the necessary changes to my diet. So I'm staying, I'm not losing weight, I'm not gaining weight anymore. I'm staying equal now, because everything that I lose, I'm just putting right back on through food. So I guess I want to, put it together in a summation and say that after you make a decision, after you have your vision, and sometimes your vision comes from other people, other people's success, or other people's challenges. Because sometimes the decision is not, or the vision is not what you want to become. It's making a firm decision on what you will not be. Okay? Specifically in my life, more of my success has come from me making a decision on what I am not willing to become. That has helped me to identify what I want to become. Right? And after you have that vision, or after you make that decision, your willpower, your faith, and the people that are your why wind up allowing you to use willpower to overcome all the obstacles that this world will put in your way, and society will put in your way after making that decision to achieve that thing. And like I said, and like Malk said and KP said, sometimes you got to pull from other people, right? Because you may not know what that looks like from your community or from your household. But the beautiful thing of the space and time that we live in right now is that our community is the world at this point. You have an opportunity to connect or access people from all around the world and from all periods of time.
Perfect timing, Jess, because I just got done. You made me think of something when you said that willpower really doesn't come into question um, until it's something that you don't want to do. You said something along those lines, right? And what I was telling people yesterday on the call that I text y'all about too, by far the hardest thing for me in my life with other people is that there's probably like one person for real, maybe one and a half, that I can count on the same way that they can count on me. I am, it can sound conceited or whatever, but I'm probably the most reliable person, the most reliable person that people know if they know me intimately, not just a regular person, but the people that know me intimately, I'm pulling up. The only thing that ever keep me away is if I have to go watch Nas do something, a game or whatever he chooses in life. I'm not missing that. But otherwise, I'll just bring him with me. There's nothing, no other family, no other nothing that'll prevent me from showing up. And that's very, very rare for me to get on the other side. Even if this is like a reliable person, because like some people, they got like different morals, values, and principles on family and stuff. Cool, I ain't mad at you, but that's something that I sacrifice to be there for the people that I care about. And that's hard for me. That's very, very hard in relationships. Like, don't tell me you're going to do something and you don't do it. It burns me up. Don't tell me you're going to be somewhere and you're not there. It burns me up. I don't care what happened. You told me you was going to be there. You did not think of it. Outside of some crazy emergency, you was on the way, you got in a car accident, your mom got sick. You know, like I understand that things happen. But 9 times out of 10, it's not one of those things. So while I just was talking, I went and copied and pasted some pages from a book that I read by Dr. David Burns. It's called Feeling. It's two of them I read. This was either Feeling Good or Feeling Great. But he's like the world's number one cognitive behavior therapist according to research and rewards and data and all that kind of stuff. He's your number one on cognitive behavior therapist, right? And I've done this with a couple of people that I love the most, and it's very, very telling. So whoever's on the call, as well as Just and KP, I want you all to do this. Now I know you don't have the book, but it's essentially about people who have tons of stress, whether that looks like depression, anxiety, or some kind of chronic stress disorder. And that doesn't mean you down bad. Like people that are very successful and enlightened and everything else, we all got stress. So it's a book about handling that. And most people, their willpower fades when they're stressed. Like people do stuff all the time and then they're stressed, then they don't show up. They can show up for every other day, right? But once things are going on, they don't show up. Or they start to distance themselves, or they start to what's the word I'm looking for? Like put it on other people, like be mean and stuff. Uh yeah, whatever that's called. Like forcing on
Lack of accountability.
Yeah, they're not accountable. All those different kind of things, right? So this book gives you a lot of things that you can do to eliminate that stress that are hard, right? So I know you don't have it, so it may not be accurate, but let's give it a shot. So number one, I'm willing to do the written exercises while I read in this book. It tells you to journal. It tells you to have tough conversations. It tells you to do the thing that you never did before. It tells you that the cure to anxiety is exposure. So all of these things that people who are reading this book probably don't do. So 0, do not agree. 1, you agree a little bit. 2 is moderately agree. 3, strongly agree. 4 is agree completely. I'm willing to do the written exercises while I read this book. Number 2, I'm willing to do the exercises even though I'm not in the mood. I'm willing to do the exercises even though I'm not in the mood. 3, I'm willing to do them even if I feel hopeless or unmotivated. I'm willing to do them even if I feel hopeless or unmotivated. 4, I'm willing to do them even if I feel overwhelmed or tired. And 5, I'm willing to do them even if they seem difficult at first. All right, so essentially it says no matter what, I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to do the exercises, the written ones as I read. I'm willing to do the exercises when I'm not in the mood. I'm willing to do them when I feel hopeless and unmotivated. I'm willing to do them even if I feel overwhelmed or tired. And I'm willing to do them when they seem difficult at first.
Can I share a perspective real quick? So, I guess, I'm biased. I'm sure you're biased too, Malk, being educators. But for everybody listening at any point in time that you get a chance to listen to this, when you hear people say that education is the great, great equalizer, okay? Now, regardless of whether you have willpower in your home, if you have people in your home that are productive or not, school is the very first and common and consistent environment that all people attend. And the great thing about it is school it has really nothing to do with the subjects, content, or information that you learn. But the amazing thing is it creates these types of behaviors or these kinds of characteristics in individuals, okay? So no one feels like getting up and going to school every single day, right? But you got to get out of the bed. You got to get dressed. You got to travel there, right? Whether it's by bus, car, or walk, okay? Just by leaning into the process of being in school for 12 years, 13 years by the time you graduate from high school, right? You have the ability to build these characteristics that you'll be able to use for a lifetime. Because no, I don't feel like studying for the test. No, I don't always understand the content, but it's my willingness and my ability to overcome those feelings or whatever obstacles that come in my way or whatever challenges that I'm dealing with at home or my family, right? It is utilizing school as your focal point for 12 or 13 years to develop exactly this willpower, faith, vision, and all of these other characteristics or adjectives in this situation, and becoming a person that you can be proud of, right? Like, now, for some people, their educational career might be over. You went to high school, years ago, right? And obviously, nobody's living in the past. You only can continue to move forward. But for those young people that are in that phase of their life, lean into it. It is a free opportunity to develop skills that will carry you for a lifetime. Because everyone else after that point, you have to pay. You have to pay for opportunities to develop this skill set that will carry you through a life, right? It will want to be in your boogie board on the ocean so that you're not the one that's paddling and trying to keep your head above water and don't notice that there's a huge wave coming that's going to come take you under, right? People with the boogie board hit the same waves. They get splashed, but they know they're coming back up top. That's where all of these skill sets are so important. Why they're so important to develop, and that's I started off by saying me and you are me and you, Malk, are biased because we both can make a really quick connection on the characteristics that we have and how we develop them through school or sports, which is basically connected to school, right? Like, help. Definitely add on KP or Malk, but that's just something that kind of burned the fire in my spirit when I began to see this, because when having conversations with people, you want to find a common ground that everyone can understand, or a common experience that everybody can draw from. And school is one that legally all children have to have in this life. If not, there'll be some court referrals, there'll be some CFSA calls and things of that sort. So, like, regardless of whether you did good or wanted to be in school or not, like 99.9% of people in this country have experienced school. And I see that sometimes young people's lack of ability to lean into what school is offering is ultimately why the struggles that they experience in life are what they are. And that's not 100% the case. I don't want to deter people, because many of my losses came in later in life. Like, God blessed me with that, right? And I've been reminded this weekend of that, just by people that I love, and specifically one young person that I love. But I wanted to offer that perspective, because if you are the adult that didn't lean into school and you have a young person in your life, be brutally and openly honest with that young person and share with them how your experience has affected the trajectory of the rest of your life, right? Like, don't give them riddles. Young people can take it. They can. I'm telling you, they really can. You might have to use language that they understand. But we're doing them a disservice by not being open and honest. Remember what you were like at 14, 13, 12 years old. And you were like, I just don't get why they just don't talk. Like, tell me, like, what's going on? 7-year-olds, like, you might have to change the language, but tell them, be honest with them. Because if not, the world is going to tell them regardless. The world is unforgiving. And it doesn't censor itself.
Nah, that's a very relatable example, and from what we've seen, I think this is 100% the problem with the public education system, and it's not the system; it's the people, it's the students and the families. To be honest, right? To put it simple, do the written exercises while I read the book. You better not dare ever ask a student to read or write in 2020, 21, right? Most of them won't do it. I'm talking public education, and we know the majority of the students are black, right? So this is mostly blacks and Hispanics. Schools are more segregated today than they were doing actual segregation, right? I'm willing to do the exercises even if I'm in the mood.
Not in the
Even if
mood.
I'm not in the mood, right? Uh, the schools we work in, one of the saddest things you'll ever see is gym. Uh,
Oh yeah.
it's very sad, bro.
I believe
Um,
it.
it's just it's like punishment. It's like a punishment. I'm willing to do them even if I feel hopeless or unmotivated. Well, if you ain't reading the right in the first place, you're probably not going to do them if you feel hopeless or unmotivated. Or if you are in the first place, you're probably more likely to do so. I'm willing to do them even when I feel overwhelmed and tired. The most overwhelmed and tired students that I've ever known have been the best ones. They got so much going on, so many extracurriculars, so many people dependent on them. And I'm willing to do them even when they seem difficult at first. Um, so yeah, school and I say working out are very, very good, relatable examples if you can't really get the stress, depression, and anxiety approach. So do both of y'all have y'all number in general? Did y'all do it?
Nah, let me, because I had went in and out. So basically, add the numbers in and then tally it up at the bottom.
Yeah, it's going to be 0 through 4 for each row, and then
Gotcha.
add them up at the bottom.
Bet. Give me 30 seconds.
Yeah, take your time.
Now is this us answering based on today or on our trend of life?
Nah, do it today. Today. Or you can do it twice if you want.
For all the viewers, you'll notice that I'm leaning in. I'm basically blind.
Surprise. I got a 5.
You got no, you don't. You gotta do one. You gotta do
There's
1
no
through 5.
I'm tripping.
You better not have 5.
Tripping, yeah.
I feel like I missed one.
It's 5
No.
of them. I'm willing to do the written exercises. I'm willing to do the exercise when I'm not in the mood. I'm willing to do them when I'm hopeless or unmotivated. The next one is
We're gonna share all at once or just one by one.
Nah, go ahead. You go first.
I got a 19. All of them are 4s except for number 3, right? And that answers a 3. And if I'm gonna be brutally honest, at any other stage in my life, that would have been a 4. But I guess what I've been experiencing personally over the last series of weeks has me at a 3. And for me, I genuinely understand why I'm in a different place. Number one, in my faith, God is challenging me. Right, I'm a little bit more weary than I have been at probably any other point. Mind you, I've buried my father at this point. Right, but I decided I want something different out of this life. Like I've made a life decision at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the world and society and the devil's job to stand up against that. That's what all of this here is created for, right? That's why success is such an amazingly beautiful thing. It's the overcoming of all the other obstacles. That's why it's such a sweet thing, right? And if I'm gonna be completely, open, honest, is that you hear that even strong people get weak at times, right? And I'm kind of the person that, like Malcolm, like I've lived life black and white, not much gray in my life, because I've realized that for people that constantly stay in the gray, their world is hazy. Okay, but I've learned that God is working on me through a series of different experiences to give me compassion, to be relatable. To be someone that can connect with people who don't always see the world through my lens. And he's given me an opportunity to sit in their space right now. And those feelings of being overwhelmed or being unmotivated or sometimes feeling hopelessness. I'm at the place where I've the first time in my life began to experience some of those actual feelings, and it's alarming. Oh, it's alarming. It's so gut wrenching to me that my constant prayer for people as I get on my knees every morning. Number one is my constant prayers for people to get out of that space in their life. My immediate second action is to be thankful that God hasn't had me in that space at any other time in my life except for now. I couldn't imagine what it's like to operate in that place
all the time
throughout my life. It's heartbreaking to me, but I understand and I see it. And me and Malcolm, we're in the school building. We see it. We see it every day. That is a norm. But it's so heartbreaking to be so young and not have hope, and to be unmotivated, and to damn near not have any vision to reach for, right? And it's just my turn to experience that, so that as I commit my life to helping people get out of that space, I'm not speaking from a place that I just read about, right? I believe that one of the best gifts that God has given me is my voice, my ability to be able to connect with people, and they can feel what I'm saying, right? But I don't want that to come from an empty place. I don't want that to come from a place of theory, right? I can never tell an addict what it's like to go through what they're going through, to say no once every day, right? Just stay sober today. God isn't giving me that. He hasn't given me that struggle of addiction. I can tell you what it's like to be sober, to choose to be sober. I can tell you what that's like. I can't tell you what it's like to fight an addiction, though. But I will tell you that God has decided for me to be able to have this experience during this time of hopelessness for the first time, or being unmotivated for the first time, just to make me relevant during those conversations. I know that this is not a place that I will always be, and I won't be here for long, because I've made the decision and I've committed to not being here with God's help. But I accept that this is the stage that it got me in right now. Just like I never thought that I would be a part of the club of jokers that is out here without a father, or has buried a parent. I didn't choose that. God chose that for me, man. But he made me relatable for everybody that maybe has lost a parent, the hundreds of thousands of people that lost parents during COVID or before, right? So I say that just because, as I explained to my boys today in the chat, this weekend in the chat, that I'm not on my A game. And for the first time in my life, I'm giving myself permission not to be 100% just. Because there's a beauty in being in that space too, right? Accepting where you at in your journey is allowing you to learn the lessons that you're supposed to right there, right? The people that experience things and they constantly put it off and they don't want to be honest about where they at, right? Bro, you are depressed. Like, not necessarily me, but like, if you sitting in a space of depression, yo, own that. The first part of getting past is something is acceptance. Josh, you all right, man? You lost your dad. Yeah, I'm good. I understand why. All right, man, but that don't mean you ain't hurting, though. I ain't really hurting yet. Joker been gone about 4 years now, hitting a little different. You know what I mean? Need him right. I need him in a different way. I'm in a different stage of life. This is a place that I need a dad. Like, I keep it G. But guess what? God chose for me not to have that right now. But he gave me a circle of people that I can depend on, that can provide the same, if not more, than he could. So I got to choose to be thankful for that. I can't choose to be down and out and frustrated or angry at God or mad at my dad for whatever decisions that he did to lead him to where he was at. I got to accept the truth of the situation that I'm in, right? But I also got to make a choice not to be here in this space for long. Because the longer that you stay somewhere, the Now that's anything. The longer you stay in a relationship that you know that's not working, the longer that you stay in a mental place that you know that's not working, the longer that you stay in a physical place that you know that's not working for you, a job, a career, food habits. The longer you stay there, the harder it is to leave. Anybody that will keep it G with you and be 1,000% honest with you, they know that the longer that they stayed, the harder it was to get out. So you got to make a commitment to accept where you are in that journey, even if it's not something that pleases you, right? And sorry to rant, but this is the truth that God has given me over the last series of weeks, right? But I never believed that God breaks you down to leave you there. He breaks you down to rebuild you, and he breaks you down to make you relevant. Because we live in a society where everybody is showing their wins. And guess what, man? This life is made up of more losses. More losses. That's why people are so celebratory with their wins, right? You ever see a joker that don't have a consistent meal? You ever notice that they eat different? They eat all the chicken off the bone. All of it. All of it. They clean their plate. They got a sense of appreciation that other people don't usually have. The person that came out of jail, they appreciate opening that front door more than anybody. Me and Malcolm had an opportunity to visit a very close friend in jail over his series of years being in there. The one thing that he kept that stuck in my mind from all of those visits is one thing that he said. He said, just, one of the things I've missed, man, I never thought I would miss, is the ability to go in the kitchen and open a refrigerator. Damn, I never thought that was a blessing. He said, man, everything that I eat right now, everybody else is telling me when or what to do, or what to eat or when to eat. I don't even have the ability to go in the refrigerator, bro. Now, I'm thankful I didn't have to experience that, but that's the difference between being smart and wise. I'm going to learn through his experience and choose to have wisdom in that experience, in that situation. Remember, you are facing just what other men have met. See it through. Yeah, thanks, TJ. I appreciate you, man. Confirmation, right? I decided to keep stepping on my journey, man. I understand that these experiences have come to shape me and not to break me. But I'm also offer that I haven't got that clarity of vision through the world. I got that clarity of vision through my faith, through seeking and understanding of God, right? And I'm not here to be a preacher of any form or fashion. In fact, I do feel like a lot of young people don't follow God because of the way that we've been presented Christianity or church. Like there's this epitome, like we seeing with Kirk Franklin going on right now, right? I don't know the gentleman's name that had the relationship books, and then he's been caught cheating on his wife, right?
Jackson.
Okay, but I want to speak on that very shortly. Okay, very, very shortly. In the case of Kirk Franklin and that gentleman, I sat with a very close friend who's incarcerated right now. And he was having a tough time during the time that he was free, and we were very close. And I shared to him, and only God gave me these words. I told him, I said, man, some of the best advice comes from people who never followed their own. And the beautiful thing is that if you can remove the person from the lesson that you're being offered, you'll understand that your judgment of them has no place. All of us are going to fall short. All of us. Ah, man, we caught the pastor doing such and such. So, that don't mean that his word wasn't true. That don't mean that what he's been teaching for years ain't true. That just means he fell short. That means that he just human. That's why it's something called grace and mercy out here. Ain't none of us out here perfect or gonna be perfect. God created us knowing that we was gonna fall short. That's why he gave us the opportunity to repent. Gave us the opportunity to have another day. Got an opportunity to make right all of the wrongs that you've done. So all the finger pointing that you got going on to Kirk Franklin now, or you laughing at the memes, or the gentleman that had these great relationship books and was giving people advice, and I'm sure had helped people turn around their marriages and their relationships. You don't throw away all of them things that they taught you. All of them things are still true and factual. It just means that they got caught up in a whirlwind. And you got to understand that the devil in the world is come to attack people that influence people positively. And they just got to a place where they fell victim to the pressure. Right? But don't count them jokers out though, man. You understand? You got to remember that they sat at a pinnacle. They sat at a very top high place at one point for a reason. I pray that they both get back to those places or exalted even higher, right? Because the one great thing about our generation is that we are willing and able to see people through all facets of their life, all stages of their life, right? We are judgmental, right? But it's that kind of behavior that keeps a lot of people away from seeking God, because the church is so judgmental. Christianity is so judgmental. It's so much to the fact that it make you not even open and willing to form your own relationship with them. And I'm gonna offer to the people that listen to that, understand that the judgment that you give others is the judgment that you're gonna give yourself. I mean, that you're gonna get yourself, and that's for me also. So I just wanted to offer that to y'all, and for that to be a moment of clarity, because life is not made up of a series of wins, man. I don't care what we see on social media, on any platform. This thing is more made up of more losses, because the losses come to shape you so that you can be prepared for whatever blessing or success that you do get. Because the one thing that's even worse than never experiencing success is experiencing it and losing it because you know that you didn't do what you needed to do to keep it. That's even worse. The joker that know what organic food tastes like, but now you got to go back to eating McDonald's and eating out the soup kitchen every day because he didn't do what he needed to do to stay in that position in life. That hurts more than the person that just line up in the soup kitchen day after day. You don't know what you're missing, right? So just take that in whatever context or whatever piece that can feed you, whatever earshot that you're hearing this in. Take that and own it, and choose to use that information stepping forward, and learn to have less judgment, man. You understand? You never kick somebody in their back while they down. Never. You never do that. Now, I don't know if you've been taught that when you was young or not. Mozzie said that, a rapper that's from Cali. You never I forgot you ain't supposed to laugh at people when you see them down. Right? He said a lot of things before that's inappropriate, but it's some lessons. It's some lessons in all things that you hear, and there's things that you can take in any form of fashion. Like, it's there if you're willing to learn.
There's what you got.
I got a 16. So I was threes all the way down until I got to 5, and with 5, I rated that at a 4. That's mainly because a lot of times things always seem difficult, right? Anything new seems difficult because you've never done it before. And one thing I realized about myself, and as I get older, I keep realizing it's like I like challenge, yo. Like, anytime I see something that looks extremely difficult, like the most average people will get scared and nervous, and I can't lie, the fear does come into my heart sometimes, but I still go through with it. Because it's always that different moment, right? It's the opportunity to experience something different. One thing that you've always laughed about, Mount, and I've always been this way, is like, you be like, okay, Pizzle, you trying to go rob a bank? I'm like, hey, why not? Let's go do it, right? But that was always because it was a new experience. It was something different than the regular course I was currently going down. So that's how I rated it with that particular exercise, and I think it's great. And Just, you had a lot of great points just now too, man. A lot of great points, very strong as well. So,
thank you, bro.
Yeah.
I also want to give this disclaimer, because we see what's going on with Casanova and all the rest of the people. They like taking tidbits from people's online platforms. KP has never been involved in any illegal activity like that. No, like keeping it G, for real. You understand? Because they will get a 3 or 4 second clip.
Yeah. Of course, I have not been involved in anything crazy, anything like that. So it's always, I'm not robbing a bank or anything like that. But the attitude and the willingness was always open, very, very open-minded towards things.
It was a fictional example.
I'll also add to your your response for number 5, that's the one that actually stuck out to me the most. And Mount can be in share confirmation for who I am as a student. He's known who I am as a student since I was 12 years old. And I've been able to achieve success in the educational world through a series of degrees and things of that sort. But I am by far not the most intelligent or smart person or student. I am the person that has to read something 5, 6, 7 times before I understand the concept. It has just been my willingness to do that and understand that part of who I am since I was in elementary school. It was very weird, right? But I remember being in elementary school, and mind you, I'm the baby in the house, okay? Me, my mom, my dad, and my brother are in the house. And I remember like having quizzes or tests. And oh man, I would go to war with my family. I need the house absolutely quiet. I need it quiet. I'm studying, right? And it's because I'm sitting at the table for hours reading the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And I can't get it with distraction, right? And eventually they began to understand that this is the process he has to go through, because I'm producing the results that make you proud of your child, right? But my brother was a different type of learner. My parents, I'm sure, were different types of learners. And it was just my willingness to do that over and over and over, which is, even to this day, to be a grown man over 30 years old, I'm reading stuff over and over. I have the willingness to review film or review tape when it comes to, like, let's say sports or trading or anything like that, just over and over and over and over. And sometimes, and I think for most people that is the case. That's the reason why so many students are unsuccessful, maybe in the public education system, is because they don't understand that they might be that type of learner, right? You may not be the person that understands it just when the teacher says it one time, right? You might have to be the person that showed up to tutoring or after hours or office hours, or read it yourself or record yourself reading and then listen to it over and over like a song, right? But humans are created to learn and to grow. KP, you also said something great about number 5, which is you like the challenge, right? And specifically for men, I was watching an episode of I Am Athlete with Brandon Marshall, Ocho Cinco, last night as well. I was in a mode of wanting to be fed. So I was looking at a different series of different things. And Brandon Marshall confirmed something to me that we experience as men. And he explained that, just naturally and from the beginning of time, men are conquerors. Now, whatever it is, in whatever form or fashion that you choose to have that reality show up, if you're honest with yourself, you'll see that in you. It don't matter what color you are, what socioeconomic status you come from, or what environment you grew up in. Like, men thrive and find fulfillment through the ability to conquer a task, whatever it is. Okay. And I think it's marrying yourself to that feeling and ensuring that whatever you're conquering is something positive. That will continue to birth life for you and birth fulfillment for you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're not always given that clarity of vision. You just know that that boy just likes to just constantly overcome things, but you're not giving him a direction, right? Like, show him this way, turn him, speak to him in a language that he can understand, right? And women, this goes for you too, obviously, but more so in the space of women raising men, because that's more common than not in our society, okay? For a series of different reasons. But if you're struggling with your son at whatever age, and you see that he has this about him, but you're struggling to give him direction, connect with other men, please. If it's okay to accept the fact that maybe you're not the person cut out for that stage of the job, okay? And it's okay. Nobody is created to fulfill all needs. That's why God gives you a community in whatever form or fashion. right? Reach out to us. Reach out to men that you know, right? If you see one barber in the barbershop that's different than the rest, right? I mean, connect with. He might not even be your son's barber, right? But reach out to him. It's people in the community center, teachers, coaches, things of that sort. But please, because women lead, and this is not a sexist conversation, but men were designed to lead. Men were created to lead, right? Um, and like I said, I don't want to be sexist or hurt anyone's feelings, honestly,
Okay.
because women have filled that role and have done a beautiful job, right? But it doesn't take away from what the natural order is and was since the beginning of time. It just means that we've had to alter and adjust because of what society has either done to us or we have fallen victim to because of society, right? But just I believe it's important to know, and the more that we get back to what we are, what natural order of things are, I believe the more that we will find fulfillment in this lifetime. It's just fighting against the waves is the reason why we are so tired and um, hopeless sometimes. And Malk, I'm gonna give you the segue. What was your response or your number that you came up with from the test?
Bro, I didn't show y'all because I didn't want to sway
Trump.
the yeah, I didn't want to sway the data. Just I wrote down 19.
I believe it.
I wrote down 16.
I
Like
believe it.
I got it right here. Right? My score was 20.
I believe it.
My score was 20. And I wish G was here, but no disrespect, but I don't have that father-son relationship that other people may have either, right? For my own kind of reasons. So like my fatherly kind of conversations, as weird as it sounds, are usually with Just or G. And over the past couple of weeks in my life, it's like a stop. I've been hitting like resistance. It's like just regularly we cool, but we not shooting to be regular people. So it's like we've been knocking on the door like this next level of life and just keep kicking us back in the head. Um, and like with Just, I was saying, yo, I'm going through it, but quitting is not an option. And I've
Yeah.
been telling you, I pride myself on maintaining what I do every day, no matter what. Even if I have to cut off some of the like residuals to spend more time pouring into myself so I can maintain. And just the other day, I told G, I say, I've never done something that I've wanted to quit so bad, but it's absolutely not an option, right?
Yeah.
I cannot, because God willing, I got another 60, 50, 60, 70, whatever years left. Like this is just a phase. And I told you I can see how it breaks people, but it will not break me. And that feeds right into like my struggles. Like 20 is literally me. Like there's nothing that will sway me from doing what I'm shooting out to do. So I know this is small, but this is the follow-up to the test. And I'll read through the relevant part so y'all can hear. As you might imagine, people with high scores recover rapidly, and people with low scores tend to recover much more slowly, if at all. So it breaks down the score levels. So 0 is unwilling. Right now, you don't seem willing to do the written exercises while you read. I totally get it and appreciate the fact that you're reading this. The reading alone could be an important first step to change, but you won't get the full benefit of these powerful tools. We all know plenty of zeros in terms of their score wise. They're just unwilling to do it because they quit, they gave up, they don't believe, they don't have big reasons. 1 to 5, you're minimally willing. It looks like you're not particularly enthusiastic about doing the written exercises, which is totally understandable. I hope you'll try a few of them, and if you like them, then you may get in the groove and do even more. All right, maybe those are the people I'm waiting for this to happen and then I'll do it. Or once I get over here, then I'll do it. Right? Or once this person leaves me alone, I can do it. 6 to 10, somewhat to moderately willing. You are somewhat willing to do the written exercises, but perhaps a bit ambivalent. I appreciate you're open to the possibility of doing the written exercises. All right, you think about it. I can tell what you want by what you say, but I can tell what you expect by what you do. 11 to 15, you're very willing. You seem to be pretty willing to do the written exercises while you read this book. That will boost your understanding and ability to use these great tools. 16 to 19, you're extremely willing, right? Scores in this range are great. You're willing to put forth the extra effort to learn how to change the way you think and feel. You're extremely willing. 20, totally willing. It's like there's nothing to say. You always do it. So in my relationships, and this is a self-assessment, but I've seen both of y'all nod and agree. Like me being a 20, it's like, yo, you can't miss one thing, right? You can't never take a day off, a session off, a talk off, or what you call it off, whatever, without it like torturing me. You feel me? Like if you down here, like I'm just done with you. And then being this kind of person and being a quiet listener, like I'm paying attention to everything. I'm paying attention to every single test. And it's probably also why I have that way that I do things because I'm paying attention to everything. Or maybe I believe that somebody else is paying attention to everything. And it's a big reason why I'm willing to put myself out there. Like a lot of the reasons why I can't miss or I can't do that or I can't do that is because I voluntarily put myself in a position to be dependent on by other people. Right. So it's literally if I don't do what I set out to do, it's going to have a negative impact on other people. And at the same time, I pride myself in being that example for somebody else to show them, like, yo, you can be a 20. You just have to decide to reshift into yourself when the world is pulling out of you. Because the number one thing you can do is continue to show up. So realize that, like another stock example, once you get to that point to where you're hitting the roof and coming back down, hitting the roof and coming back down, hitting the roof and coming back down. Once you break it, they call it a breakout. You gone. You feel me? Like, yo, like this stock is down here. Why is everybody so high on it? Yo, you look 3 months back, it keeps hitting $50. Keeps hitting $50. Keeps hitting 50. Then you look a month later, it's at 70. You know, because it's a sign like, yo, they can get here. They can get here easily, but they have to shift somewhere, boom, to be able to break through it. Right? And a lot of people, what they do, they sell. They sell. That's why it keeps falling because they hit that point and people sell. Oh, it hit 50, that's my target. 50, that's my target. 50, that's my target. Right? And there's something called it's usually a double or a triple top, right? Where they hit that top 2 or 3 times. But each time the bottom gets higher. The bottom gets higher. So there's so much pressure built up between that solid top and that increasing bottom that when it hits, it's like all of the bottoms come out. Right? So don't, like, people are willing to be bought. Don't let your willingness be bought out because you keep in that $50 range. Because when you stick it out, it's going to break out. Right? So be willing to stick it out. But once again, it comes down to what you believe in. A lot of people are not willing to hit that resistance because, like Jess said, they may or may not have that vision. Now, I think that's debatable. I think everybody at least had, HAD, at least had a vision. Everybody, I won't say has, but they at least had one. But they didn't believe that they could make it happen, right? So they quit, right? So if you don't have that vision, rekindle it. Because I do agree with the part, like if you don't have a vision, it's never going to come to sight because you're not going to be willing to put the work in to get to that point. Just to stick to our relatable examples in school, if you don't believe you can be a straight A student, you're not going to put the work in. Not realizing, like literally in history, this is the easiest time to ever be a straight A student. Like in our school system, it's literally illegal to give a 0. It's literally illegal. Like you can have credit, bro. Just for being on the roster, you're getting a 50. So all you really gotta do is get a 50 to get 100. So all you gotta do is get an F to get an A. Like literally. It's never been an easier time to be a straight A student. But a lot of them don't believe, so they don't put in the work. Or if you're out of shape. Like one of my favorite things like to look at on Instagram is those transformation stories. Like this was me in 2019. This is me now. And I love sharing them because all that person did was make a decision. to hit the 20. Like no matter what, on the run, they hit a 20. They might have been at 0 anywhere through 0 through 19. And like especially a lot of people overweight. It was a traumatic event that led to their deterioration. Like simple. Like if you ever seen like my 600-pound life, they've been through trauma. My husband died, my son died, something died, I lost my job, I broke my arm or something, and they just buried themselves in that pain. So realize the same wall, I should have made a slide for this. The same wall that keeps out disappointment is the same wall that keeps out happiness. Like we're talking about resistance. Oh, I keep hitting this point. F it. I got it. Just got, you got 3 degrees now, right? 4? How many degrees you got? 3. I got 3 degrees. I can get a job. Just let me quit my extra big mission, and I'm gonna just be cool. Yeah? I got a XYZ $100,000, multi-$100,000 home. I got these degrees. I got a beautiful wife. I'm good. Like I've surpassed what my parents wanted. Right? I can just stop there because I keep getting disappointed, but not realizing, and I'm changing that number for you, just FUXYZ, that 50 number you be having in your head, you got another 50 or 60 left, right? So stop being disappointed. This is not to just for whoever, because realize the other wall, on the other side of that wall that keeps out the disappointment is happiness. Realize that wall is composed of pain. Imagine those bricks is pain on top of 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 pain. So are you willing to do it when it's difficult? Are you willing to do it when you don't want to? Are you willing to do it when you're tired? So you have to stick it out so you can hit that breakthrough. And realize when you do stop, like you hear us say, we never take breaks. We only recover. Because so say you have 100% whatever, and you take half the time off. You lost half, so now you're at 50. But it takes 100% to get back to 100. You lost half to get to 50. 100% of 50 is 50. So you need 100% back to get back to where you were instead of sticking it out. I'm at 99. I'm at 99. Then all you need is 1% to get back. So find that belief, find those big reasons, and stick it out. Because if you don't, it's going to take so much more just to get back to where you were. And that's where people quit. And oftentimes they don't decide to come back and fight until they hit the breaking point. So find some big beliefs, borrow some of ours if you need it, find some big reasons, and make them bigger than your excuses, and find a way to have that willpower. Anything y'all would like to say in closing?
Oh, I'll say something real quick, and that's embrace the pain, right? Like one thing Mal talked about was that going through your situation and feeling the comfortability in it, but just embrace the pain so that way you know to not sit in that current situation. And that's all I'll leave you with. Just embrace the pain, man.
Josh?
I felt like I shared probably all my thought process during the conversation. This would be the first time I don't end with a closing. I will offer whoever is listening at this point to review the tape, right? Because analyzing is a part of changing your trajectory. All right. Going over something over and over, getting a new understanding or a new meaning, no different than listening to a song over and over, or watching a movie for the second and third time. You pick up things that you didn't the first go around. This would be a great video, this would be a great video, a great listen to do that over and over, because you're going to connect with something in another way than the first time you heard it.
100%. And as KG always says, every rep is a bar of gold. But realize the crazy, super crazy amount of heat that gold had to go through to become gold. See you next week. Peace out.